How much does it cost to become a field inspector? I'm going to share all of that with you as I continue sewing some patches on my jacket. I am a little obsessed with putting very cool patches on my jacket. Today I'm putting this peace sign on this little pocket, and I think I'm actually going to look at a whole bag full of, I think I've got some little hearts and some little peace signs I might put on the collar too. But anywho, technically it doesn't cost one red penny to become a field inspector. However, I don't know about you, but my time is valuable. So if we spend hours and hours researching, trying to find the right companies, and maybe even creating our own resume and trying to figure the whole thing out on our own, well, then it doesn't cost anything. But in my opinion, it actually costs more because it's going to take a long time, and there's a lot of ifs and variables, and I don't know, I don't understand, I think I'll just take a nap and figure it out tomorrow kind of a thing. So for me, here are the investments that I have made to become a field inspector, and I've got my first appointments this week, starting with a daycare and also a hotel, actually a Super 8, and a restaurant, and some type of automotive place. Those, oh, and a second daycare. I've got 5 commercial field inspection assignments next week. So the first thing I bought, the first thing I invested in, we have to have a business owner mindset when it comes to this, because you are a 1099 business owner. So the first thing I bought was the directory of the companies that hire you, me, to do commercial inspections. Now, if you start Googling field inspections, you'll see a lot of companies that do mortgages, mortgage mills, as one of my mentors calls it, where you're going and verifying occupancy and knocking on doors of people who are behind on their mortgage and almost going into foreclosure. No, we don't want to do that. We don't want to have that negative, icky energy. I mean, maybe you do. Maybe you want to do that sort of thing. Maybe you want to go, tape letters to doors. I personally do not. So I learned that commercial and insurance inspections are the way to go. So I invested $150 with Sophie, which is the Society of Field Inspectors. If you go to fieldinspection.com, you'll find Richard Law and his lovely wife who have this directory. And there's about 180 to 100 companies that do exactly what we want to do. And I know from experience trying to Google and find these companies, it was hard trying to find them on my own, but this directory, bam, right there. Phone numbers, names, email addresses, descriptions of what they do as far as insurance, commercial. Maybe you're inspecting cargo crates. Maybe you're doing FEMA inspections. Maybe you're doing business verification. So there's a lot of different ways to be a field inspector. So for the $150, I got the directory and the resume created and some personal time with them on the phone. Now you can buy any one of those separately, but for $150 you get that little business starter package, if you will. And for me, that was important. The second thing that I invested in was a certification. Now, you don't need to be certified. You don't have to be certified. You can go out and do this and just get all the experience that you want on your own. However, there is a certification called VITA, V-I-I-T-A, and they have a personal lines certification, which is residential, and they have a commercial lines certification, which is to learn about, restaurants and bars and all kinds of different commercial type of, and you learn about the different building, ISO 1 through 6, etc., what's frame, what's masonry, all that kind of stuff. So I went ahead and got that for a couple of reasons. Number one, it looks good on your resume that you're certified. Number two, even though I've been in real estate on and off for 20 years, and even though I was on HGTV and, you know, did a whole lot of fun stuff in real estate and have a basic concept of what they're inspecting, I didn't really know all these different ISOs and all that fun stuff. So I paid for the certification, and now that's on my resume, so that looks really good. A couple of other things that I bought, paid for. I paid $80 for a couple of weeks of mentorship from a woman that I've been watching online who's been doing this for a little over a year. I really like her style. I like her no-nonsense way of being. And she had several different packages, and I just wanted to get my feet wet with a mentor who could share with me some things that would help jumpstart my new career with this. And already from the first call that I had with her, she gave me a little nugget of information that I didn't know about that was worth the $80 just for that first 15 minutes. So I did that. Next, I invested in a printer. Now, if you have a printer, you don't need this. But I invested $90 in a printer because you got to be able to print out your work orders if you're doing commercial. Now, there are some field inspection companies that are on apps, and they're real, just simple, basic. You go on the app. All you need to be is 18 years old or older, maybe 21, at least 18. You need to have a reliable car. You need to have a phone that takes pictures, and you need access to internet. You know, that's really as basic as it can get. And you can go out and start doing those without printing anything off. And those are more like little residential things, or maybe someone needs a car, needs you to go take some pictures of a car or a boat that maybe somebody from across the country is buying, and they need to get it verified that it's a, you know, a real piece of equipment. So you don't have to have a printer, but if you're going to do it right, you're going to do commercial, you need a printer. Now, one of the things that about a year ago, I had talked to a guy who has a company that does field inspecting, and he was telling me I needed a business, I needed an LLC, an EIN number as a business owner, and I needed to have E&O insurance. And before I did enough research, I thought that's how it worked, and I thought you had to have it. But what I've learned from my mentors, who I got this directory from and a ton of videos from them and my other lady that I've hired, is that actually if they're asking you, and a background check, if they're asking you to pay for a background check, and if they are requiring you to have E&O insurance, etc., give it a pass. You don't have to do that. So this company that I'm doing these 5 inspections for this week, they paid for my background check. They have not required me to have any insurance. They recognize that I'm an independent contractor, and if I don't have insurance, that's on me. Some of them will actually ask you to have workman's comp insurance on yourself. So the moral of the story is you can get into this industry with a big fat goose egg, zero investment, no doubt about it. Or you can invest to learn what companies don't require all that investment up front. You can have somebody else create your resume, and you can learn from other people's mistakes, like I am from the mentor that I've hired. So keep going along with me on my journey. As I do these inspections this week, I'll make some more videos about how it goes, because the bottom line is, I ain't got a clue. I mean, I got a basic clue. I understand what's going on. I understand why they do the inspections and asking some basic questions, but I've never done it before. So let's see how it works, and I'll see you on the flip. Bye.